Hello everyone, this clip video will present about infill, skirt, beam, and support material. And also this video clip are created by Artittaya, Tivakorn, and me, Punyanuch. We will talk for three contents for this. The first one is infill, second is skirt and beam, and the last one is support material. The first one is infill. For the infill, we have four parts for it. The first part is infill, second is ironing, and third is reducing printing time, and the last one is advanced. How we gonna adjust the infill? We have to go in the program and click the print setting here and click this one infill, and you will see all of it in this slide. For the fill density, you can see it clearly. The first, second, and the last one. The first is 0%, so you don't see any fill in this one. And the second is 25. You will see it more than the 0.1. And the last one is 70%. This is the most density here. This one will give more compression resistance or higher stiffness. For the fill pattern, the first one is the honeycomb and the second is star. You can see it clearly. It's just for the fill pattern inside the module. Here is the top pattern. The top pattern, you can pick a custom infill pattern that only affects the top visible layer, not adjacent solid layer below. The first one is Archimedean cord, and the second is autogram spiral. You can see this one will go around like this. The nozzle will go like this, and this one are different from the first. And for the bottom pattern, you can pick up a custom infill pattern that only affects the bottom visible layer, not adjacent solid layer above. Here we have the same pattern as the previous one. For the bottom pattern, you can see it more clearly than the top pattern. It will be like this. And for the enable ironing, the first one we turn off the ironing. The ironing will smooth flat top surface by running a special second infill phase at the same layer. This one we use all top surface, so the nozzle will iron the top layer of each surface, the last layer of each fat area. And this one we use the topmost surface only. Only the very last layer of the object will be iron. For here is iron, not iron for this one, different from this. And here is the combine infill every 8 layer. The first one we combine for 1 layer, and the second we combine for the 5 layer. The different layer height will be used for infill and for perimeter in order to speed up the print without fixing the print quality. Example, combine infill every 5 layers. Layer height 0.1 mm. Infill will be print at 0.5 mm. This one is solid infill every 8 layer. The first is 0 layer and the second is 2 layer. Here only have 0 layer and this one have a 2 layer. This feature allows you to force a solid layer after every given number of layers. This can be useful to increase the strength of the print part. However, other options such as increasing the number of perimeter or infill percentage are preferred. And the last one is the fill angle. Default angle for infill orientation cross hatching will be applied to some infill pattern. Here we have 0 degree and this one is the 100 degree. you can see it clearly. The line will be like this, and this one will different like this.
This one I want to show you about the skirt and beam. This is the difference between the skirt and beam. Skirt is the far from the model, and for the beam is near this model. And this one is how to set the skirt and beam. You click the print setting and click on the skirt and beam, and it's the object what you want to setting. And this one we want to show you about the loop minimum. For the first picture we use only one loop, and for the second we use 8 loop, and it's the difference between the 1 and 8. And this one is the distance between the skirt and the object. For the first picture is the only 2 millimeter, and for the second is the 5 millimeter. You can see the distance, this one and this one is the different different from the model. And this one I'm going to show you about the skirt height. And the first one is only 3 layer, and the second is the 15 layer. And this one the different, you can see this one and this one. Yes. And for this the minimum filament extrusion length. For the first one is only 4 millimeter, and for the second one is 15 millimeter. For this one we focus more skirt loop when the necessary to ensure the minimum amount of the filament set here is extruded before the skirt is finished. For the multi-extruder machine, this minimum applied to the each extruder. And for the last one, this the beam tire weight and grab. You can, for the first one is beam tire, you can choose only the outer beam only or inner beam only, and or you can choose the all of this one. And this the pretty much you can choose all. If you want, you can set any if you want. And the last one is the separation gap. This one, and this the example of from for me. You can see the for the different this one and this one.
For support material, you can go to the print setting and use support material. There are many kind of support material such as auto generation, up support, or rough layer. And this is many various adjustment for the support material. For the first kind of support material we will show is generate support material and auto generate support material. Support are disabled unless a model that an override for this setting. For the first one, we use only auto generate support. The second one, we use auto generate support and generate support material. For the last one, we don't use anything. You will see how many different there are. For the next one is overhang threshold. This is the value represent the most horizontal slope that you can print out support material. Changing this value is a quick way to adjust the amount of generate support. The lower value is the less support will be generated. For the first one we will use 15, the second is 35 and 55. You will see how many different there are. The next one is enforced support. For the first generate support material is the specified number of the layer counting from the bottom, regardless of the whether normal support material is enabled or not, and regardless of any angle threshold. This is useful for getting more adhesive of the object having very thin or poor footprint on the building plate. See, you can see around here how there are difference. The next one is first layer density. The more you adjust the higher density in the first layer, you will see how expansion it. The first one is 20% and the second is 90%. This one is the first expansion of the bed. In the explain for the better stability, you can see the first one is 3 millimeter and the second one is 10 millimeters. Next is rough layer. The object will be raised by this number of layer and support material will be generated under it. When it's been finished, you can grab the rough and peel it away from the part. You can see 5 layer of rough layer and 50 layer of rough layer. Next, rough layer contact with the sea distance. The first one is 0.2 millimeter and the second one is 2 millimeters. We cannot print it out because it's a little bit over the bed. If we print it out, the object will be moved, so we cannot print it out. And these are our reference. Thank you for your attention.